finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because the most important thing isn't what you're planning for, it's who. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at thrivent.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Good afternoon, everybody. Daily Takeaway Daily here. I feel like I've been sleeping in this place. 72 straight hours I've been locked in the studio. You think Scott Hansen has anything on that? Come on, he's in and out one day. Your boy over here, he's been locked in this place. Saturday, college football rundown show, myself and Beef live for 2 hours. Villanova Colgate opened up the season with a victory. Good game, too. Good game. Now, that does not lead to anything good happening on Saturday at Happy Valley. But you know what? That's why they played a game. Yesterday, myself, Roy Burton, live right here. Countdown to payout from 11 to 1. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, getting involved. Both shows were great successes right from the jump. Just tremendous success for the first two shows right in, out of the chute here in September. And we're just getting warmed up. We're just getting started, right? You know, that's what it really hits right now where, okay, everybody got the cobwebs out of their brains. You know, I saw the phone ringing a little bit more over there in the sales department. Football season's here. Oh, by the way, the Philadelphia Eagles are the reigning Super Bowl champions, and they looked pretty damn good on Thursday to open up the season. At times, were they perfect? No. And that's obviously where I wanted to start on today's show. Was like, all right, now that you had an opportunity to watch everybody play, excuse me, one more game tonight, Monday Night Football. Pretty good one, too, as well, with the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. Two really good storylines there as far as coaches are concerned, with defense coordinator versus Ben Johnson, guys that know each other very well in that conference, a quarterback that we continue to talk about in just some alarming fashion. If you just heard Cowherd with that article on The Athletic about Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, it's kind of mind-blowing, but it doesn't shock me. When you're drafted number 1 overall, they're going to bend over backwards to make you happy for some. Now, that doesn't mean all quarterbacks or all players are created equal. I think we understand that, but still. So we got ourselves a pretty good Monday Night Football game. But out of all the other games that we were able to watch on Friday, with the Kansas City Chiefs looking, you know, as sluggish as they were, as limited as they were. I know they suffered a pretty big injury there to Worthy in the beginning of the game, 4 plays in. His shoulder just smashed into pieces. I mean, my God, can you put on a couple LBs in the offseason, running across the middle of the field, and who knows how long he's going to be out for. Hopefully not much, because I did think that it was going to be a big year for him, and I do have Worthy on one of my teams that you don't give a damn about, but that's all right. Yesterday, we all settled in. Right from the jump, we opened up with, of course, Rodgers, returning to his old neighborhood, his old stopping grounds of MetLife. We had the Bucks and Falcons. We had so many games, the Giants and Commanders, Colts and Dolphins. into the 4 o'clock window. We had some pretty good games there. Finishes happening left and right. Scott Hansen earned his money in the 4 o'clock window. Niners pulling it out at the end. And then into the late night evening, where we ended up with possibly, it could be the game of the year, and it was week 1 between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. But the question I have after assessing everything in the NFL, taking a look at some of the players that you thought would jump off the page of you, whether they were rookies or guys that just you felt like were going to turn the page this year, or teams that you thought that would take a step up, or teams that you thought would repeat, and apply that same logic, those 2 eyeballs that you have, that big brain that you have, and think back about Thursday night and come away just a little bit happier about the fact that the Eagles were able to beat the Cowboys in a game, or week 1, game 1 of the new season. That's all I'm saying. It's got to make you look at it a little bit differently. Every team was flawed. There were players that did not look good. There were players that you expected to have big-time performances that were gassed. There were coaches that made dumb decisions all day yesterday. Defenses that got tore up. The Detroit Lions favored to win the division. Did they even make the trip? That offense was god-awful. And you apply that to what we saw on Thursday night with the Philadelphia Eagles. I just want to know, does it make you exhale a little easier? That's all. Of course, get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler, at Fox PHL Gambler. We're running live here on all things socials. We're streaming. And we were even taking some phone calls over the weekend. You got to love that. We had a guy calling on Saturday that said Akron would not score a single point against Nebraska. Guess what? He was right. That's the College Football Rundown Show. That's the type of logic, the type of winning plays that you get week in, week out, right here on The Gambler. All right, enough of that. Let's get to it. Opening drive time. You know where we're going.
The Daily Ticket opening drive. No warm-ups, no stretching, just straight into the action.
Yeah, where do we start? And it was the game of the day. And I don't think that the Minnesota Vikings and the Bears are going to top what we saw last night up there in Buffalo. The Bills were down 15 in the 4th quarter. Oh, I cashed my ticket. I put out a tweet of drive into the second half where I started power ranking the teams of what I just witnessed with my own eyeballs. And I said, I've seen enough. The Baltimore Ravens impressed me the most in week 1. And then all of a sudden, Harbaugh throws up everywhere. Derrick Henry fumbles, and Josh Allen is an absolute superhuman being and deserves the MVP and then some. Just give it to him again after yesterday's performance. 251 yards passing in the 4th quarter alone. Unbelievable. But they can't do it unless the defense makes plays, and that's what the Bills did.
And I hand it off to Henry, and he's bottled up. The ball is out. It's loose. Who's got the football? It's Buffalo ball at the Baltimore 30-yard line. Terrell Bernard.
That's when you knew there was trouble. You knew there was trouble once he fumbled there, and you were like, uh-oh, that's not good. Anyways, you still had to put points on the board. Josh Allen leading the charge.
Allen reaches over the goal line, and he is in. He went high side this time instead of low, and he punched it in for the 1-yard touchdown run.
Now, Matt Prater, it went back and forth. There were some dumb decisions, including punting to the Baltimore Ravens. Harbaugh, I have no idea why he decided to do that. You don't have Ray Lewis back there. You don't have Ed Reed. You're not the Buffalo Terrell Suggs. You're not the Baltimore Ravens with the great defense of old. You got a hell of an offense. You got Derrick Henry, who just is unstoppable when he gets the ball and he runs down the hill, unless he fumbles. You got Lamar Jackson, who is his own superhuman being himself. And what do? You punt the ball back to the Buffalo Bills. The only way you're going to lose that game is if you give them the ball back, and it's exactly what took place. Matt Prater, who was signed by Buffalo on Thursday, plays hero, hits the walk-off field goal. John Harbaugh, come on down. All eyes are on you. He's not getting fired no matter what happens. He's going to be able to ride off into the sunset whenever he wants, and he deserves that. I'm not here to say that he needs to go. but he has to change his approach to finishing games. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Come on now. It's not hard to understand that. And that was a game that you can't lose. They were up 15 in the fourth freaking quarter. I get it. Defense, they weren't there. There was no defense on either side of the ball. But when you have an offense like you had, why give the ball back to Buffalo? It just made no sense. Harbaugh, 17 blowing double-digit leads in the second half. It's the most, at least since 1991. The Bills are the fourth team since 2000 to win a game despite trailing by 15-plus points in the final 4 minutes. All other teams are 3-2. Excuse me, I wrote that run down there. Again, just for them to be able to come back the way that they did, just ridiculous. Allen and Jackson combined for 7 touchdowns. Derrick Henry added 169, 2 scores. Allen, as I said, 251 in the fourth quarter alone. I would imagine if you had Josh Allen on your fantasy squad, you probably found a way to win that game. The fumble was the backbreaker. That was when I started turning over. Like, I had one eye open. I had the shout out to DraftKings with the ghost leg. You got to love that. Just giving us an opportunity to win, because you know how many times that same game parlay comes up one leg short. If you opted in and used the ghost leg, as long as you only lost one leg, it removed that, brought down the odds to whatever it may be, and you cashed in. So here I am. All I need left. I had Josh Allen, 2 touchdowns. I had what did I have? I had Derrick Henry, I think, touchdown. The one leg that I ended up getting wrong was I had the under on that, for crying out loud. What was I thinking there? And I just needed the Ravens money line. They're up 15. I'm saying, all right, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to wake up to a winning ticket. Nope. The fumble, and that's when it started happening. The avalanche was unstoppable at that point in time. Not much you could do about that. But you know, you also have to look at some of the other things that did go right for Buffalo. Like, for crying out loud, on 4th and 2, Josh Allen rolling to the right, the ball gets tipped, and it still ends up for a touchdown catch. Like, what are we doing? Come on now. Unbelievable performance, unbelievable game. And, you know, it's one of those moments or one of those games where you're like, I wish this was on a little earlier so I could enjoy it a little bit more, knowing that the alarm clock was going off at 4:35 in the morning. And that was probably, 11:45? Yeah, that was a little tough there. So I wanted that game to end. I wanted to win, but that was not the case. Oh, well, what can you do? On to the next one. I think number 2 for me yesterday, as we take a look at some of the big games that took place yesterday, storylines that we built up. Now, again, it's not a team that I'm looking at potentially to do anything. Maybe they can make some noise in that division. Highly doubt that they're going to be better than the Baltimore Ravens, but you have to give it up. Aaron Rodgers looked good. He did. 4 touchdown passes. I'm not going to sit here and say it was vintage Aaron Rodgers, but 4 TD passes is 4 TD passes. 0 turnovers is 0 turnovers. He was able to put it together. Oh, by the way, I also want to shine the light on Justin Fields and the New York Jets. They look good. There's some hope there for Jets fans. I think as far as fantasy is concerned, Justin Fields delivered. I want to tip my cap to Mark Henry Jr. on that. It's a hell of a get for you guys out there. You gotta listen. You gotta pay attention to what's being said on these airwaves. Justin Fields was a must draft, and he paid off and then some yesterday. But the story is, of course, Rodgers going back to MetLife and turning back the hands of time.
Play action pass. Rodgers rolling. He fires underneath. Wide open is Skoranek. And Ben Skoranek is in for the score. Rodgers to Skoranek. Opening drive. Touchdown. The Steelers did not have a single opening drive touchdown last year. Not one.
Well, not a bad way to start there as far as this year is concerned. New sheriff in town with Aaron Rodgers. And again, that game was fun to watch, right? I sure as heck wasn't building that game up by no means as far as a game that, I can't wait to get home and watch the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jets. From the betting perspective, I thought the Jets were going to win that game at home, and they had an opportunity to at least make it a little bit more interesting where they fumbled a kickoff return when they were up by 2, I want to say, in the third quarter, which was just a tough blow to overcome. But you got to tip your cap to the Pittsburgh Steelers going in and getting that victory. The one thing I would say about the Pittsburgh Steelers is you can't be getting Aaron Rodgers sacked 4 times in the game. Dude's 40, whatever he is, 42, 41. Yeah, if you continue to get him hit the way he was taking hits yesterday, that's not going to work out for you at all. Breece Hall for the Jets ran for a $107 on 19 carries. We talked a lot about that. Justin Fields, on yesterday's show, we ended up hitting on whether or not he would go over the number 50. He ends up with 48 rushing yards, 16 to 22, 218, a touchdown in the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Garrett Wilson, 7 catches for 95 yards, a touchdown. Those were his exact numbers yesterday. The prop, as far as DraftKings is concerned, was 7 catches. He hits that on the number. Over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, DK Metcalf looked really good. He was blazing back there. They had the rotation working in their favor as far as the Pittsburgh run game was concerned. Jaylen Warren had 11 great carries. Kenneth Gainwell, shout out to KG, course, Super Bowl champion for the Philadelphia Eagles, 7 carries for 19 yards. Rodgers, 22 of 30, 244, 4 touchdowns and 0 picks. Again, to the way that game started, gas pedal down, 66 points. And, oh, by the way, was the lowest total on the board coming into week 1. I want to say 37.5 it went off at. If you bet the most points would be scored in that game, it was 35-1. 35-1 that would have been the highest scoring game in week 1. Now, did it finish that number as far as the highest total is concerned with 62? No, because you ended up losing by a tough game with 41-40, 81 points where I had the under in. So I'm not exactly the genius over here. Regardless, though, you got to give it up to the Pittsburgh Steelers, opening up 1-0. I don't think that they're going to win that division, but as I said, I did not have them winning that game yesterday. Nice work there. All right, now to game number 3 for me, and we got to go out to Green Bay. Again, this was one of those games where I felt like the vibes, the emotions would be through the roof because of Micah Parsons, and it was correct. Even though he only played 29 total plays, he did come away with that timely sack in the fourth quarter, but you could tell that his presence was felt, both on the field and in the stands. Did you hear LaFleur calling out his fans, saying, don't be selling your tickets next time to the Detroit fans? It's week 1. There were a couple coaches that called out the fans yesterday. Josh Allen called out the fans up there in Buffalo because they left. They were down by 15 in the fourth quarter. They didn't think they were coming back. Ooh, you got to believe. Come on, man. Should give him some faith next time, as Josh Allen said. But Green Bay, they look good in that opener. And from the storyline perspective, there's so many things that you can go into. For me, of course, it's the Micah Parsons. One, it's the addition of Parsons to that defense. This is a team that played the Eagles very hard last year. A lot of analytics are in their favor. You knew that adding Parsons to that team was only going to raise it up another level, and it showed you yesterday. For my money, heading into the evening for Baltimore, as I said, Baltimore and Buffalo, I thought Green Bay looked the best yesterday. 29 total plays, and that's only going to continue to grow. As far as what we saw in that game, and I'll get to the box score in just a second because I don't think it really revolves around the box score to a point. I just want to say that the one big storyline was whether or not Detroit would be bothered by not having both of those coordinators that they had for the past few seasons. Aaron Glenn on defense, Ben Johnson on offense. Offensively, absolutely. They were atrocious on offense. That was bad on offense. Goff threw the ball 39 times for 225 yards. That's not a recipe for success. Gibbs had 10 catches out of the backfield, 10 catches for 31 yards. It's like the lowest total in NFL history for someone to have 10 grabs. The fact that he finished with 31 yards, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a fireable offense, but it's a what the hell did we do type deal. That's where you have to start. If he's going to have 10 grabs, already that's a huge issue. How are we not getting St. Brown open, Jamison Williams with 4 grabs each, Laporta, who's a pretty damn good tight end in his own right, 6 grabs. He had himself a decent day. But those are the questions that I would start if I'm Dan Campbell going, as far as offensively, we didn't take any shots downfield. I think they had one play that they took a shot over 20 yards all game long. And they were one of the more explosive teams in offense last year. And as I said, the same players are still there. So I think Roy said yesterday, it's not something, if I'm not mistaken of what he said about not having their 2 coordinators back for this year. Oh, it was definitely something. Now, there's plenty of time to grow. I know that, or learn. I know that this is the time that we want to lie to ourselves about week 1 and say, oh, the Indianapolis Colts, watch out. I got them getting to the AFC Championship game. The Dolphins are atrocious. Fire everybody. The overreaction Monday, of course, especially a week 1 edition, is the best one we get all season long. I look at what Detroit was yesterday, and in that environment, that was a tough spot for them to go in to win. With that being said, there's a lot to fix. Green Bay on the other side, Jordan Love, 16-22, 2 touchdowns in the air, 188. Josh Jacobs, only 19 carries, 66. Tucker Kraft looked good. He only finished with a catch, though, which was surprising when you did he did have a couple more. He had 2 catches, but he had the 1 touchdown. He was the guy I was looking at when it came to fantasy as far as a tight end is concerned. He was still available a little bit later in the draft. Jaden Reed, you had Matthew Golden, the rookie, out there with 2 grabs. They spread it around, a ton of work for a lot of receivers, but that was an ugly game start to finish by Detroit, and that's exactly where I start and end my assessment of what took place out there in Green Bay. Kyle Fisher was on the sideline, so I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more of what his takeaway was this week here on the Daily Ticket. He represents the squad over at CBS Sports. He followed Tracy Wolfson. I saw his breakdowns on Instagram. Fantastic point of view in what was a beautiful day out there at Lambeau.
Here's the snap to Love, throws right side of the end zone. Touchdown, Jaden Reed, right corner of the end zone. They beat Terry and Arnold again, and a Lambeau leap to the north end zone stands for Jaden Reed.
Jordan Love, after the game on Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I think I think he was limited in some of the opportunities, and he was definitely out there on 3rd downs. And obviously, the offense is going to have a plan to try and put as many hands on him as possible. But I think he was definitely making an impact, and his presence was felt out there on the field.
Yeah, he flies around. He buzzes. We know how darn good he is. Like, we can give it up as far as, well, it was the reason why they did it, and the Packers got fleeced, and the Cowboys made up. No, Micah Parsons is on his way to Canton. If you're telling me a player that's 4 years into his career has had double-digit sacks, no less than 12, that's what he was drafted to do. He ripped it up at college. He's been delivering and then some for you on defense. There's no way that I'm trading him at this point in time of his career. He's getting that second contract, and that's what he should have got in Dallas. But he feels like he's relieved. He spoke a ton post-game, and he's not a guy that likes to shy away from the opportunity to speak on a microphone. We know that. So I wonder if the podcast will be available yet, or he's going to put that on ice for this season. We'll see, though. But Green Bay showed a ton of muscle in that home opener. And as I said, Parsons made his presence felt. 27-13. That was an easy winner by the Green Bay Packers. All right, let's get to the afternoon, though, in a game that I had a lot of interest in. And the reason why, it's because of those division battles, right? And the 49ers are a team that I thought would be a hell of a lot better this year than what we saw last year. Now, I think they ended up with how many wins last year? 6? They were atrocious. So I'm sure that they'll do better in that category. But as far as the offensive line, as far as defense, I think there's a lot of question marks. They couldn't pick up the tough yards. They had to get creative, which Shanahan is really good at, to pick up some tough 3rd and short and 4th one, using McCaffrey out of the backfield. But Christian McCaffrey looked vintage. What a performance by him. But to the game itself, Brock Purdy delivered. And, he's one of these guys that I was definitely doubting in the beginning of his career, but he has proved his worth and then some.
1:44 to go. Fourth quarter. Shotgun. Purdy looking, bump from behind. Now he rolls out. Still has time. Still looking. Now he rolls to his right. He's pursued, and he throws it. Caught! Todd just got it! And the 49ers take the lead.
Touchdown! 17-13 final score. I think the 49ers were a point favorite. I think 2 points favorite it went off at. I had the 49ers in that one. Not the best day as far as ATS for me. Pretty much split 500. Actually, one game under 500, if I would not lie to you. Yeah, because I ended up having Houston. That was a tough loss. That one put me under 500 for the picking every game so far in week one. But as far as that game is concerned, Purdy looked good. I thought that pass play that he was able to make at the end really showed me a little something there. As far as McCaffrey is concerned, like I said, 22 carries for 69 yards out of the backfield. He had 9 catches for 73 yards, picking up tough first downs. They were able to move him all around, and it looked like he had some pop or some bounce in his step. So there was a lot of concerns for him. But all in all, Christian McCaffrey, I came away with impressed. Now, it's a long season. It was only one game. We'll see what happens there. Robinson Jr., who they picked up in that trade, he carried the ball 9 times for 33 yards. Kittle ended up getting hurt. And I don't know what the latest is, but I know it wasn't anything good. 4 grabs for 25 yards. He had a touchdown already, but then he ends up leaving the game. And that was a team that was already hurting as far as skill position players with Brandon Ayuk and everything along those lines with Jennings signing a new contract. How much could you count on him? He did have 2 catches there. But all in all, they were able to pull that tough division battle victory out. And Brock Purdy leading the way, 26-35, 277, 2 touchdowns. Did have 2 interceptions, so need to work on that. One was a tough throwaway that I think was picked off. It was just a hell of a play by Seattle, and the other one was a bad interception. But still, the 49ers and Rams look like the best of the best in that division. It's what we all thought would be the case. 49ers were favored to win that division. I went with the Rams. We'll see how that one plays out. Over to Seattle, Sam Darnold, not a believer, 16-23, 150. He needs to donate a lot of that check that he was able to get to O'Connell as far as the contract is concerned, because there's no way that I was believing Sam Darnold was anything of what he showed us last year. I think that was coaching and, oh, by the way, the weapons that he had. He's got some pretty good weapons with Cooper Kupp and Smith and Jigba, who had himself a day, 9 grabs for 124. Cooper Kupp, 2 catches for 15 yards. Cooper Kupp was one of those guys in my fantasy drafts that I felt like I was always faced with, do I want him? Now, for the last 3 seasons, I don't think he's been able to finish a year, but all in all, Cooper Kupp was a guy that I know I could have drafted in every one of my leagues, and I don't think I took him in one. So I think he was one of those guys that I wrote down, that if Cooper Kupp turns into maybe the Cooper Kupp of old, 80% of what he could be, remember the Triple Crown winner, dude was a beast, and he stays healthy, he can help you win a league. But yesterday he had a tough drop. Normally he makes that grab and only 2 catches for 15 yards. Kenneth Walker, 20 total yards, and Zach Charbonnet, 47 yards total. 49ers, they balled out. That was a big-time victory by the Niners, and as I said, a division win. So you got to give them credit on that one. Speaking of division wins, let's go to Atlanta, another game that we focused a ton on because of the fact that you're opening up week 1 with 2 teams that are pretty much going to decide that division. The Bucs, who have won the NFC South 4 straight years, were favored to do it again. Could the Falcons dethrone them? I believe so. I took the Falcons this year. I took the Falcons yesterday. Tough loss. And the way it started with Bijan taking the first catch to the house, you're thinking, all right, here we go. Defensively, Pierce looked good for the Falcons. He was able to get after Baker. I thought Baker's offensive line wasn't all that good. There was just so many things that were leading me to believe that the Falcons were going to win that game yesterday. But the story about Tampa Bay and the resurgence in the past few seasons since Brady left has been about one guy and one guy only, and it's Baker Mayfield. And it's incredible to see. He has galvanized that team around him. He is a true leader. I don't know if he has changed his ways, Obviously, he's getting a ton of help with the players that he's playing down there. Good coaching, XYZ, no doubt about it. But there is something going on with Baker. And like last year, he made me be a believer. And then this year, I wasn't surprised he was able to hook up, as you're going to hear, to go ahead with that leading score on the throw to the rookie. Unbelievable 2-touchdown performance out the chute. Are you kidding me?
25-yard line, empty backfield. Baker Mayfield takes a belt high snap, looks, throws the ball toward the end zone. It's a caught ball. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Emeka Egbuka with a defender all over him. He makes the grab in the end zone. The Bucs take the lead.
3 total touchdowns for Baker Mayfield. Egbuka had himself a day. 4 grabs, 2 touchdowns. Now, is that something you're going to be able to count on every single week? Maybe not 2 touchdowns, but I think it's only going to get better. He's got some serious speed. He was going up and grabbing these balls. And you think about where he came from, Ohio State, with all those star receivers, and he's one of the better ones to come through those hallways. This kid's the real damn deal. I know that there were a lot of people saying that. Shout out Nick McClay. He was saying he's the best receiver in the class. He's going to have the numbers that look like they'll be the best in that class. No doubt about that. Now, the Falcons had an opportunity to tie it. Field goal went left and then right. And unfortunately, we missed the overtime period because I think that would have been entertaining. But still, you got to give it up to the Tampa Bay Bucs for winning that game in Atlanta to open up the season with a division victory. And when we talk about these divisions and who you believe will win it and where you're going to go and who you're putting your money behind, as far as that's concerned, that's probably one that's going to come back at the end of the season, and it will be the difference in that division. I know it's week 1, might be getting ahead of myself, but that's where my mind is at. To the box score we go. Michael Penix, 27 of 42, 298, a touchdown, no interceptions. He was sacked once. He looked good. He was actually moving out of the backfield. He carried it 6 times for 21 yards, picked up a tough first down at the end of the game, and also scored the touchdown to tie the game as well, or to take the lead, right? Take the lead? I believe to take the lead. So Michael Penix, I was a Michael Penix believer, and he showed me a little something there in the first game of the season. Backfield, though, running game, as I said, Bijan was disappointing, though, the way he started the game with the first catch to the house, I think 50 yards. He finished with 24 total yards rushing. Can't do that. Bijan Robinson is too talented of a player to finish with 12 carries for 24 yards. And I know he had 6 grabs out of the backfield. That's something you want to hang your cap on. That's fine. But still, Drake London ended up getting hurt. I don't know what the latest is there. My bad on the injury report. I need to read up a little bit more on those injuries to find out exactly what's been said right now. But all in all, Drake London could be a huge loss if he's gone. 8 grabs yesterday, 55 yards total. Kyle Pitts, come on down, 7 catches for 59 yards. Could it be his season? Could it be a welcome back to the ball yard Kyle Pitts type of season? I thought it would be because of Penix. I'm a Penix guy. I'm a Penix believer. And after game 1, he showed me a little something there. Baker, 17 of 32, 167, 3 touchdowns, only sacked once. Bucky Irving, 14 carries for 37 yards. They have a big-time injury. Wirf is hurt for them, and he's a huge deal for that offensive line. I thought you saw a little something as far as that was concerned, where they were hurting in that category. The Rook, Egbuka, 4 grabs for 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 5 for 51. And Bucky Irving out of the backfield, 4 for 8 yards. They're saying that the offensive coordinator is a little bit different than what was last year. So we're going to see some different numbers out of the backfield for some of those running backs as far as receptions are concerned. One weekend, you got to find a way to win a tough ball game on the road, and the Tampa Bay Bucs did exactly that. All right, now to my final big, as far as game on the board to discuss here in the opening segment. And he had the best performance all the way up until the evening hour, where Josh Allen and I think Lamar Jackson finished above him. But I have to tip my cap again and give it up to Daniel Jones. I said on the program to start the day yesterday that Daniel Jones can't throw a football. Well, he threw it 29 times, completed 22 of them for 272, ran 2 touchdowns in there, 1 passing scoring, and oh, by the way, no turnovers. The Indianapolis Colts lost 11 straight. Listen to the stat. The Colts lost 11 straight season openers. Week 1 without a win. 11 straight years. This is the first time that the Colts were able to win since 2013 in week 1. And I also want to point out that Danny Dimes deserves a little more respect because the actuality where the service we get our drops, all of our sound bites from, they didn't have any of Daniel Jones. I thought to myself, that's disrespectful. If you're going to shine the light on one guy, you have to give it up to Danny Dimes after that type of performance. He was incredible. The Colts looked great. Now the Miami Dolphins looked atrocious, but more on the Colts. He was moving around. They threw up 33 points. If you had the 33 score, cash that in here on week 1. Unbelievable. 22 of 29, 272 for Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor out of the backfield, 18 carries for 71 yards. Giddens, DJ, 12 carries for 41 yards. Danny Dimes, 7 carries for 26. He had 2 touchdowns. Pittman, Warren, Pierce, Taylor out of the backfield. Mitchell, kid from Texas. Josh Downs, 2 grabs for 12 yards. They look good. And I think if you're going to say, hey, give me one overreaction from one team or one result, I would look at the Colts and say, you know what? I think they could win that division. That division was up for grabs already. I had the Jags winning that division. I think the Jags are beatable. I don't think I'm saying anything that you would disagree with. Can the Colts keep that up? Can Daniel Jones be the quarterback that he was when he had success the one season with the New York Giants? Maybe. They do have some decent players on that roster. Tyler Warren's a hell of a pick. He had 7 grabs for 76 yards. He was all over the field. He's got a big, big frame. We know how skilled he is, but even in the NFL, he looked like he was open a lot. Great hands, get him involved, 9 targets. If you drafted him, you're in a good spot. Now, I don't know if that's going to be Brock Bowers' area last year, but Brock Bowers was the main reason why I was able to have success in one of my leagues. I got him. No, I got him in 2 out of my 3 leagues. And, of course, we know what the numbers he put up. Tyler Warren off and running, 7 grabs for 76. If that can continue, that's going to lead you to a lot of victories week in, week out as far as fantasy is concerned. But when you talk about this game, as much as I want to shine the light and be positive about the Colts and Daniel Jones, because I didn't have really much expectation for them, the Dolphins, whew, what happened? What happened to the Miami Dolphins? Is Tua just not a good quarterback? I think we have our answer now. I thought Tua was a good system quarterback. I thought Tua and the Dolphins would be good against teams that didn't have much expectation. I thought Tua and the Dolphins would be good in a nice environment, maybe a dome. Boy, was I wrong. I want to pull up the team stats because I think it's important to look at this one and how lopsided this was. Again, this is the Colts. This isn't the Ravens. This isn't the Bills. This isn't the Eagles. This is the Indianapolis Colts. First downs, 27-12. Total plays, 70-46. They ran 46 offensive snaps. Time of possession, 38-43 for the Colts, 21 minutes for the Miami Dolphins. Horrible performance. 3 turnovers. And McDaniel's got to be asking himself whether or not he is going to be remaining as the head coach to finish out this season. That's how bad of a performance it was to open up the year. Again, the bar was low for the Dolphins for me, but I thought that they would go in there and steal game 1 or at least put up a fight. That game was over In the second quarter, the Colts were up 20-0. 20-0. Not how I expected that game to go. So as far as one of the bigger disappointing teams or disappointing games yesterday, Dolphins are in my top 3. That's who impressed me. Of course, we got some other games we'll hit. As far as disappointments are concerned, we'll hit the other 2 teams. I got my top 3 disappointments, 2 teams, 1 player that I'll hit on the other side. Coming up at 4 o'clock, we got Monday Night Football coming your way. You're damn right. Let's do it. We got some Monday Night Football back in our lives. I think next week we have 2 games. Today, though, we only have 1, and I think it's going to be a pretty damn good one as well. I think tonight, with as far as the quarterbacks are concerned, storylines are concerned, coaches, Ben Johnson, what the hype is he has going for him with the Chicago Bears, I think tonight's going to be a good game. We'll break that one down. We'll take a deep dive in the 4 o'clock hour, all things Monday Night Football. Other side, though, top 3 disappointments and rookies who made an impact. We also got some big payouts. Did you cash in on some of the biggest payouts as far as props are concerned? We'll hit on all of that. Notice I didn't bring up anything Phillies related just yet. You want to talk about deflating news? Yeah, that Trey Turner news. Oof. Not good. Best case scenario, 3 weeks, ready to go for the opening round. Best case, worst case, he's done for the season. Unbelievable timing. They've been relatively healthy, right? Oh, well. We'll talk a little bit about that in the 4 o'clock hour as well. More on the other side, all things NFL Week 1. It's The Gambler.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
September 19th and 20th at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas.
Hey, Sean Bryce here for DraftKings Sportsbook. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling around. YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRACE. That's code BRACE to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Looking for something new? Try fencing, the Olympic and Paralympic sport that mixes speed, strategy, and fun. It's like chess meets cardio. Quick feet, quick decisions, and a satisfying beat when you score a point. Kids, teens, and adults can start anytime. No experience needed, and many clubs have loaner gear. Coaches teach fundamentals and safety from day one. Find a beginner class near you at usafencing.org/tryfencing. That's usafencing.org/tryfencing.
Homeowners, would you like to save on your monthly payments? Mortgage rates have been dropping. Visit rocketmortgage.com today to see what you could save. Call 800-863-4332 for cost information and conditions. Rocket Mortgage LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Week 1 of the NFL season is wrapping up tonight. It'll be Ben Johnson's head coaching debut for the Bears. They take on the rival Vikings. After a few extra days of rest, the Eagles are getting set for a Super Bowl 59 rematch against the Chiefs in Kansas City. Philly looking to go 2-0 in that one. And Phil's shortstop Trey Turner's status for tonight's series opener against the Mets, it's up in the air. He's got a hamstring injury. I'm Scott Davidson.
The NFL season is rolling. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New customers download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SPORTS to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. That's code SPORTS only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Thanks to you, thousands of teachers now have the tools they need to thrive, and their students do too.
I get up every single morning, and I can't wait to see their smiling faces coming through my door.
iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose, building brighter futures one classroom at a time.
As a teacher, I'm really trying to help them come to school every day and put their foot in the right direction of life.
And we're just getting started. Help keep the momentum going and nominate a teacher who's made a difference in your life at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
It's the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, 3 to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Well, Philly, we're off and running, and what a way to kick off the season. Last night's Birds and Boys game had a little bit of everything. Thunder, lightning, delays, and even some fireworks before the ball was even snapped, thanks to Jalen Carter and the dust-up with Dak Prescott. Who had that on their bingo card? But when the rain cleared, it was Jalen Hurts who took control, 2 rushing touchdowns, and just pure dominance inside the red zone. Saquon Barkley found the end zone as well. And Jake Elliott, the guy you can count on all these years, drilled a monster 58-yarder that turned out to be the dagger. Dallas made it tight, but those drops by Lamb cost them in a big way. Not perfect, not pretty, but it's 1-0, and that's all that matters. The Eagles are off for a few days here and get Kansas City on the road next weekend, where they're a 1.5-point underdog. We'll be breaking it all down next week right here on The Gambler, your home for Philly sports.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it right here on The Gambler.
My station, baby.
Daily Ticket with you here. We're coming back once again. All things NFL Week 1. We got ourselves a pretty good game coming up here at 4 o'clock or tonight, Monday Night Football. We'll break that one down coming up at 4 o'clock. Yeah, no, that game is not starting here soon. That's for sure. Ben Johnson making his coaching debut, and we did have a number of those yesterday. And it's always intriguing because I think it adds a little wrinkle when you start to look at the spreads and, oh, well, you know what? Like, I know what we're going to get from, let's just say Dable, or I know what we're going to get from, Andy Reid. But when you get these new coaches and these new spots, it's a big question mark, and you don't know whether it's going to provide some inspiration. One of the teams that I thought would get a little bit more was Kellen Moore and the Saints. They had an opportunity. I thought that they were going to do it. I thought that they were going to find a way to win that game yesterday, or at least tie it up and send it to OT, and hopefully would have finished with a field goal, but that was not the case. Unfortunately, that was one that I got wrong yesterday. Went against the grain on that one. But Schottenheimer with the Cowboys opened it up on Thursday. He ends up getting the L. Liam Cohen for the Jacksonville Jags. They end up beating the Carolina Panthers. Man, that Panthers team is not good. People are trying to sell them again this year. Like, oh, watch out for the Panthers. They're going to improve. No, they're not. No, they're not. Bryce Young is, they got it wrong. He's not an NFL quarterback. He's just not. It's an ugly game. Can't say I've paid attention too much as far as the details are concerned. Was intrigued with Travis Hunter. Had the Jags in that one. Got that right. Pete Carroll goes on the road. That was an impressive victory for my money. Now, the handicap that we had on the station, I thought was pretty good. A lot of people here on the station loved the Raiders on the road. There's just a lot of holes to be filled by the Patriots, even though you are, enamored with Drake May in the starting quarterback position for that team. But bottom line is a team that has a lot of flaws, and Vrabel's a good coach. Again, new spot for him. He gets the L in that one. Kellen Moore ended up losing. Aaron Glenn ended up losing. And now we get Ben Johnson this evening. So out of all the new coaches and new spots, 2-4 so far. 2-4. Liam Cohen and Pete Carroll, the only two coaches to get victories in their first game as far as new locations. Now, first-time head coach, Schottenheimer, Cohen, Moore, Glenn, Ben Johnson. The only one to come away with the victory there is Liam Cohen, as I just said. So we'll see what happens with Ben Johnson. Once again, DraftKings Sportsbook, where we're getting all of our numbers from. Take a peek at some of those spreads and props coming up here at 4 o'clock. Currently, the Vikings are a 1.5 favorite. It's what they've been all along, 43.5. I have been saying that I love the Bears in this one. Am I ready to have egg on my face? Of course. Have I been 100% this week? No. So you do with that what you may. But bottom line is I do like Ben Johnson. I do like that offense. There are a ton of weapons, and I can't wait to break that one down coming up here at the other side. Just quickly, if I may, the disappointments as far as yesterday is concerned. I don't think anybody tops the Cincinnati Bengals as far as disappointing is concerned. Now, I know that there was a lot of buildup as far as what the Browns have been able to do against the Bengals, and specifically with Joe Burrow. But this is a team that decided to roll the dice and say, well, we got to start better. We got to come out faster. We got to have our guys ready to go. And we're going to play Joe Burrow in the week 1 preseason game. And we're going to have him running around in the first half of preseason game 2, where he could get leveled and he's taking hits and he could be done for the season. Who knows? Rolling out there with Jamar Chase, having Chase Brown out there, Higgins, and all the starters were playing in preseason because you have to start better. You got to play better in week 1. Did they win? Sure. But that was a stinker of a game. 17-16 was your final score. The defense was able to force a turnover against the Browns late, or I think the Browns are going to win that game. Joe Flacco, 31 of 45, 290, a touchdown, 2 picks. The Browns are terrible. I think they had the lowest team total coming into the season. I think that they will fulfill that mark. I don't think they'll get higher than 5 games. But it's all about Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, which you can't have the type of year that Burrow had last year. And knowing what those receivers are capable of, and Chase Brown and what he was able to do on that first drive to score a touchdown, and then have the rest of the game turn out the way it did. It was ugly. And as I said, I want to give credit to the Cleveland Browns defense. I do. But I'm sorry. Joe Burrow is way better than what we saw yesterday. 14 of 23, 113, 1 touchdown, no picks. He was sacked 3 times. Chase Brown, as I said, opened up the game, had himself a touchdown. I think he broke one, had a good run, gets down there, and then all of a sudden it was non-existent from that point in time. Had 21 carries for 43 yards. That's good to see him get 21 carries. T. Higgins, 3 grabs. Jamar Chase, 2 grabs. Like, what's going on there? Ugly. Let's pull up those team stats because I don't think I had a chance to look at it. But the Bengals were dominated. The Browns had 22 to 11 first downs. Time of possession, 35 to 24. Total yards, 327 to 141. Browns should have won that game, and I wish they did. Unfortunately, they came up short, and the Bengals ride off into a 1-0 opening to their 2025 season. That's why you play Joe Burrow in the preseason. So he could throw for 113 yards, 14 and 23, but win the game. All right. I think you could have done that if Joe Burrow rolled out of bed without picking up a football since the final week of the regular season last year. I think he could have done those same numbers. Whatever, though. They win, and that was a stinker. That was by far the most disappointing performance all day yesterday, even worse than the defenses between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens, and, as I said, the Miami Dolphins. That was my top 3 as far as biggest disappointments. Other side, we'll do Monday Night Football, plus biggest payouts. We'll talk about some rookies, take a look at the waiver wire, and, oh, by the way, got to mix the Phils in as the New York Mets are in town for 4. I know it's football season, but damn, we got ourselves a Red Oktoberfest approaching, and Trey Turner, who has been the best player from start to finish for this team, most consistent. Schwarber has obviously put a dent in that conversation with what he's able to do with the home runs, but Trey Turner leading at the top, setting the table, stealing bases, playing better defense at shortstop, and, oh, by the way, competing for a batting crown. Like, come on. And now we lose him, and who knows how long he's going to be out with the hamstring injury. We'll talk a little bit about the Phillies and Mets series, but shine the light specifically on what took place over the weekend, and what I mean by that, the wild card runnings. The Phillies have an opportunity, and I think it's in their best interest to do this, to try and knock the Mets out of the running for that 3rd and final wild card spot. That's what's up for grabs. There's 4 teams right behind the Mets. The Mets are in that final wild card spot. The 2 teams in front of them aren't going anywhere, I don't think. So this is a 4-horse race right now, and the Phillies have the Mets for 4 games. The last time I predicted that the Mets would sweep, or the Phillies would sweep the Mets, it went the other way. So I'm not going to sit here and say that today. But if they can get a victory today and continue that winning way for the next 3 days, and who knows what can happen here. But it's definitely something that we'll be watching tonight. Monday Night Football is going to have one screen. Phils and Mets will have the other screen. Yes, Nick, right. People have multiple television screens. Were you able to survive yesterday, or did you have to watch one game? It's the Daily Ticket. Other side, Monday Night Football. More after this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Westbound Vine Expressway crawling 95 to the Schuylkill. Westbound Schuylkill crawling Bear to the Vine Expressway with the off-ramps blocked with a broken down truck. Eastbound Jam Montgomery to Vine, then crawling Bear to Broad Street with an accident taking out a lane. Lara Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples.
Ryan Seacrest with you, and this is your savings tip for summer. Shop Staples for school supplies as low as 25 cents. Plus, more great deals for teachers and students on top brands and trending styles. Kind of makes me wish I was in school again. Staples, that was easy.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at public.com. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
When you hear that a small Blizzard treat is just 85 cents in the DQ app, you might just feel like you're dreaming. 85-cent Blizzard treats. Trust us when we say you're not. But get to DQ quickly, because this dream is only a reality for so long. Hurry and get your small Blizzard treat for just 85 cents with a $1 purchase when you sign up for DQ Rewards. For a limited time at participating locations. Terms apply.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems, like snoring, aches and pains, hot sleep, or even an old saggy mattress that can keep you up at night. And our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now get a king bed for a queen price, plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Quiet down, here she comes. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey, this is Matt Jones. I'm Drew Franklin, and this is NFL Cover Zero. We're just here to try to give you an NFL perspective a little bit different. Did you see the Colts pretzel? That was my other big takeaway from that game. What was that? Oh, my. We think NFL coverage should be informative and entertaining. And twice a week, that is exactly what you're going to get. Open up your free iHeartRadio app, search NFL Cover Zero with Matt Jones and Drew Franklin, and listen now.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Daily Ticket with you here on a Monday. NFL Week 1 almost done. We got one game left. Ben Johnson making his debut as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. You got the Vikings and Bears. Oh, my. DraftKings Sportsbook. Hey, new users. Are you taking advantage of everything that's at your disposal right now? All you got to do is use Braces, the promo code. Let them know that you're listening to us here on The Gambler. We appreciate that. And there's a lot at stake. First of all, $200 in free bets. Plus, there's all sorts of goodies for YouTube TV and Direct TV, all of that. Just use Braces, the promo code. Nobody does promos like DraftKings Sportsbook. Let them know that you're listening to us here, as I said. With that being said, also, take advantage of that Ghost Leg. The Ghost Leg promo. They rolling that out for Monday Night Football, or was that just a week 1 deal? Get a free profit boost, same game parlay, 20%, free shot, 25K. Maybe I used it and I can't use it again. Is that the case? I don't know. Well, I used it. Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. You're not going to be able to use that for every one, right? All right, so maybe that's it. Take advantage of that ghost leg, though, damn it, if you can. That thing was awesome because I took the under. I took the under in the Bills-Ravens. It's 51. Unbelievable. It was 51. And I took the under. They scored 80-plus points in that game. Josh Allen threw for 251 yards in the fourth quarter. I still have a hard time believing that. I still have a hard time thinking that is even possible in an NFL game. 251 yards in the fourth quarter. Like, what? They were up by 15 with 4 minutes to go. Now, we've seen comebacks like that happen before. I've seen teams down by 10 and they score 2 touchdowns. 15 is still tough, or a lot tougher than coming back from 10. The Bills scored 22 points in the fourth quarter. Josh Allen finished with 394 yards, 33 of 46, 14 and 19. Sorry to get caught up on that game, but it's just mind-boggling how it finished. And because of that ghost leg, it eliminated the under. I had Allen 2 touchdowns. And again, that's, if you're going to say that Josh Allen's going to score 2 touchdowns, and I think Derrick Henry had a touchdown. It was 5 legs. It was 4 or 5 legs. I forget what else my other play was. But they were all hit. And then just needed the money line. It came up short there because of the unbelievable comeback by the Buffalo Bills. But 29-19 first downs. Rushing yards. Baltimore had it going, and it specifically Derrick Henry, 18 carries for 169, 2 touchdowns. Lamar, it just hitting such a stride. I think this is year 8 for Lamar Jackson. And then they kept on bringing up last year's numbers and what he did and how he did not win the MVP. And I'm with you. Like, if you look at those numbers and say, hey, look, like, how are you not going to give it to him? It's really hard to come up with that answer. But I think we got our answer last night with what Josh Allen did. Now, Josh Allen, I think the receivers this year are better than what he had last year, slightly. I'm not going to make, the Keon Coleman and Josh Palmer look like Jerry Rice and John Taylor out there, but they are a little bit better. I know Coleman was there last year, but still. And then it comes into the conversation of the quarterbacks, right, where we talk about the core 4 with Burrow, Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen, and whether or not a guy like Jalen Hurts can get into that conversation. And then you see what took place. Like, could Jalen Hurts do what Josh Allen did yesterday? Stupid barroom conversation. Stupid barroom question. I'm a fan. I love Jalen. I never put him in that core 4. I always said that they were slightly better than him, but Jalen wins. But you have to be honest with your assessment and say, could you imagine if Josh Allen had A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley in the backfield, that offensive line, the defense that he had last year? Maybe we're talking about something different. But then it comes down to the tush push and whether or not you could pick up those tough yards. Jalen Hurts could. Josh Allen can't at times. He was stopped a lot yesterday. I didn't even mean to get off into a tangent with this game, but good grief. It was really, really, really special. Zay Flowers balled out, 7 grabs, 143. Hopkins, apparently, that was his first catch in a Ravens uniform. How many games did he play? Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Sorry about that. It was his first catch in the Ravens uniform, yes. That's right. And what a grab it was. One-handed over the head or over the shoulder. Boom, pulls it in for the touchdown. Zay Flowers, though, was incredible. He was zooming around that field. 7 grabs, 143. It looked like 7-on-7 at times. That's what it looked like. You ever watch 7-on-7, the practices or anything like stupid high school games will pop up on the television and these players have all like the daylight to move around on the field? That's what it felt like watching Zay Flowers work. That's what it felt like watching Josh Allen, Derrick Henry scampering down the sideline. It's incredible. We'll go over next week's spreads and see what everybody has, but it's time to do Monday Night Football. Let's go. Because Monday Night Football is back in our lives. And I'll tell you what, we got ourselves a good one tonight. DraftKings Sportsbook. Vikings 1.5 favorite, 43.5 is our total. Moneyline -118 for the Vikings on the road, -102 for the Chicago Bears. The expectation is what for you immediately when you start to think about this game? For me, I think Ben Johnson, with all of that offensive firepower that he has at his disposal, all those good players, Luther Burden. You look at some of the other receivers that they have currently on roster as far as the Chicago Bears are concerned. It has a little vibe-ish of the Detroit Lions to a point. DJ Moore, Dunze, Loveland at the tight end position. DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. You could start to picture Luther Burden, who was incredible. I think that's a great draft pick. You start to maybe believe or try to convince yourself that the Chicago Bears could be the Detroit Lions light or something moving in that direction. At least I am. And it starts with Ben Johnson. Now, Caleb Williams struggled at times last year, and if you believe some of the things that are being written right now, was his own worst enemy at times too. Ben Johnson, there's a new sheriff in town. It's his show. And if you're not going to do what he needs to be done, you probably won't be the quarterback with the Chicago Bears very long. Easier said than done. I'm sure that Caleb Williams has shown him enough. I think we saw a little bit in preseason that he looks like he could fit the mold that Ben Johnson wants in a quarterback. Not turn it over. It's easier said than done. Hang in the pocket. Timing. Jared Goff made that system look real good last year. And now, after one game, I'm going to say whether it's an overreaction or not, he misses Ben Johnson very easily. Ben Johnson and the Detroit Lions threw up some serious points. I think they averaged 29 points per game last year. 30, right here in front of me. Detroit led in NFL scoring offense, 30.1 points per game. And total offense, 402 yards per game over the last 2 seasons. I look at what Caleb Williams is capable of with Ben Johnson, and that's why I like the Chicago Bears. Oh, by the way, they're home. The electricity's in the air, and I feel like I know a little bit more about this Bears team than I do J.J. McCarthy. I'm ready to watch this game with that on the other side. I need to see J.J. McCarthy. Now, should I be holding off on wagering? Potentially, if you were smart, that would probably be your best bet. But who cares? It's game one. You got to have action on it, right? First one, Monday Night Football. Let's go. Nobody's sitting on their hands here. J.J. McCarthy was a guy that I did not believe in. Played well at times at college. Of course, had some great success. Harbaugh loved him. XYZ. But this is a different rodeo. This is the NFL. And yes, he does have Justin Jefferson. But what else? Jordan Addison's gone. I know he's got a good tight end that could potentially throw up some numbers for him. Decent run game with Jones. They just went out and made a move for Adam Thielen. So I'm not trying to buy the Minnesota Vikings led by J.J. McCarthy. I give the edge to Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears in this one. That's where it starts for me. when you start to look into the props, we were texting earlier. I was already eyeing up Loveland. I think that could be a very, again, I come back and I keep it very basic. So I think to myself that it could be Detroit Lions light. So Sam Laporta, I look at Loveland and whether or not he could be in that role. So I'm looking at Loveland from receptions, excuse me. You can get him at 4+ at a plus money at plus 167. I would take a stab at that. Get him involved early. Settle, of course, Caleb Williams down and find the tight end. He is very athletic. He's got good hands. And I think they were already hooking up a little bit in training camp if I was reading some things correctly. But that is there's a lot of mouths to feed on that offense. DJ Moore is a guy to watch out for. As I said, Luther Burden is a guy that had a pretty good preseason. Zacchaeus, the former Eagle, was making a little bit of a dent in preseason as well. I don't know if he's going to get out there and get reps, but there are a lot of mouths to feed on the offensive side of the ball. I just feel like his safety valve will be the tight end, and Colston Loveland is a very good receiver. So 4+ at plus 167, plus the Bears in the money line. I'm liking where we're starting there. On the flip side, staying with the tight end position, TJ Hawkinson. And it's real basic for me as far as that is concerned. Hawkinson's a damn good tight end. And I think that this is one of those deals where it is, you want to ease J.J. McCarthy into it. So I could see Hawkinson being a guy that's going to get a lot of work, a lot of run. And I'm not going to sit here and say 5+ or anything along those lines, but potentially could go over his number as far as receiving yards are concerned, and that's at 50. I think we can see TJ Hawkinson get over the 50-yard mark. I'm looking at both tight ends to have pretty good evenings tonight on Monday Night Football. So those are the two props that I'm eyeing up from the tight end position and the money line for the Chicago Bears. Touchdown scores, I would look at Justin Jefferson. You know that they're going to force it there. You can get him at plus 135. Why not? It's game one. It's Monday Night Football. Get him the rock as much as possible. And even if you do, throw a couple incomplete passes, throw it out of the back of the end zone, as long as you're not turning the football over and you're forcing it to him, I think everybody would be okay with that. It's Justin Jefferson, if not the best wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the game. Loveland on the red zone. Again, I need to learn a little bit more as far as wagering on anytime touchdown scores. But if you're going to give me Justin Jefferson at plus 135, plus 140 at some shops, I think that that's a guy that you need to look at there. Either way, it's going to be a hell of a ball game. It's a good one to close out Monday Night Football. I know that we were all hyping it up for a little while now, getting back into the mix and, of course, looking at that primetime matchup or the primetime games from the Eagles on Thursday, the Chiefs and Chargers on Friday, Ravens and Bills last night, and then this one closing up shop on Monday night. Let's go. Passing props real quick. Take a look at that. J.J. McCarthy plus 230, plus 109, 230 over as far as passing yards is concerned. Caleb Williams last year, it's just tough because you want to talk about last year in a little bit, but it's going to be different. If last year Caleb Williams threw for 208, 209, 210 per game, and you're going to toss me a 220, I think he's going to go over that tonight. The one thing from the Vikings perspective as far as isn't getting enough talk, and it's getting mentioned, but darn well when you start to talk about the coaches or coordinators, it's all about Ben Johnson and the offenses as I have discussed it so far. But Brian Flores, it's a hell of a defensive coordinator. And he knows the personnel for the Chicago Bears. He knows Ben Johnson and how he operates. So it could be a tough spot for the Bears going up against Brian Flores. Could be. It's definitely something that needs to be discussed. He's a hell of a coach. But I'm going to lean to Ben Johnson and the offensive side, and I'm going to say Caleb Williams is going to make a few plays. And we're going to ride with the Chicago Bears to open up the season with a victory. As far as Caleb Williams rushing, 25 plus at plus 109. I don't know. J.J. McCarthy. I'm not going to say anything about him leaving the backfield. Caleb Williams, 25 plus yards at plus 109. That's obtainable. But I think in this offense and what Ben Johnson wants him to do is stay in the pocket, timing, work your progressions, find the open receiver, get it out of your hand. Don't hang on to it. Don't try and make plays with your legs. But 25 plus, that's a scamper. That's one rush. That's one slip out the backfield, and next thing you know, he's down at the red zone or in that area. So last year he averaged 28.8. There you go. He's very capable of hitting that number. But I'm sure, as I said, with Brian Flores, he's no dummy, so they'll be spying him, trying to keep him limited and keeping him in that backfield. It's going to be a great game. Love to get you involved with that conversation. Hit me up at Fox PHL Gambler. Hit me up, Fox PHL Gambler, with any of your takes for Monday Night Football. We do have a couple comments coming in here. I apologize. Philly the podcast. I hate to be a Fins fan. Yeah, no doubt about that. I think you're going to have to find a new head coach and a new quarterback. Coach is probably easy. Quarterback's going to be difficult. Although it's a good draft. It's a good draft. So do you start tanking? I don't know. Mark checking in. I'm up by 15. I have a Dunze and he has Jefferson. How safe am I? Oof, I wouldn't say you're safe. Not at all. I'd say you're in a tough spot, Mark. Good luck, though. Not trying to say that you're going to lose, because it comes down to Justin Jefferson. He's going to target it comes down to J.J. McCarthy. He's going to target Jefferson, but if he's able to get it to him, if he's able to complete those passes, and next thing you know, J.J.'s walking out with 8, 9, 10 catches, whatever it may be, and it's the same Justin Jefferson from years, from the past few seasons. He's going to throw up some decent numbers tonight. Adunze could have one big play that could save you, but that's a tough spot. You're going to be sweating that one out, and that's what we love about fantasy football. At Fox PHL Gambler, good stuff there. Appreciate it, Mark and Philly the podcast. Keep them coming. On the other side, we got to mix in what's the latest with the Phillies. We do have some breaking news. Rob Thompson spoke to the media, so I'll have that for you on the other side. What exactly he said about Trey Turner and Alec Bohm as well. Wild. 4 games against the New York Mets starting tonight. 19 games remaining. I don't think the East is up for grabs, but man, that wild card spot for the Mets is going to be dicey. We'll go over those numbers on DraftKings Sportsbook. Also, we got to hit the card for next week, take a look at some of the numbers for NFL Week 2, and a little bit of college football on the way out. 5 o'clock hour, we got Sam Ostry and Sean Bernard right here on The Gambler. The boys went live earlier today, so I'll have that for you in the next hour. Can't wait to catch that on my ride home. It's the Daily Ticket. Don't go anywhere. More after this.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
September 19th and 20th at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. Streaming live only on Hulu.
Limited tickets still available at AXS.com.
Get yours while you still can.
Lenovo and the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Tech that hits different. Can your gear keep up with the beat? Lenovo PCs are built for creators, dreamers, and fans who don't hit pause. Visit Lenovo.com for the latest in AI PCs and game-changing tech.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Things are getting back to normal at the Ben Franklin Bridge. We had a disabled truck on the upside heading into Philadelphia. That's cleared. And so that delay is pushed forward, just slow now. And midspan down to 8th and Vine. The Vine Expressway westbound backed up A Street to the Schuylkill merge. Eastbound tied up Schuylkill to Broad. Westbound Schuylkill crawling approaching University to Vine. And so City to Belmont. Eastbound Stop and Go Boulevard to the Vine Expressway. 95 northbound backed up Betsy Ross to Bridge. And southbound Jan Kottman to the Betsy Ross. Lara Totella, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At public.com, you can invest in almost everything: stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at public.com. Go to public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at public.com/disclosures.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
It's Tony O'Donovan, President and CEO of Arkema Inc.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at tmobile.com.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Hey, Sean Brace here for DraftKings Sportsbook. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown could bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Folks, we got ourselves a banger next week. We got the Eagles and Chiefs in that 4 o'clock window on Sunday. Should see a lot of points. Hey, new customers over at DraftKings Sportsbook, this one's for you. Bet just $5, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. All you got to do is just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRACE. That's code BRACE to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube